Hey, what's up guys? Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. In today's video, I just want to address this whole Beatles hate thing. So I'm not going to say this came as a surprise to me because I know that the Beatles is a very... people either love the Beatles or they hate the Beatles. I haven't really met too many people that are like in between. There's not really, I don't think I ever met one single person in my life where I was like, hey, what are your thoughts on the Beatles? And they said, they're okay. It's either, oh, I love the Beatles or I hate them, they suck. There's no in between. Yeah, so I made this video like 2 weeks ago, and it actually wasn't even really about the Beatles. I mean, yeah, I used a Beatles song, and the reason I used that Beatles song is because someone asked a question about it in the Zombie Guitar Facebook group, and they were like, hey, what's up with this song? Well, what are these chords all about? So I went and I did a little analysis on the song, and the point of the video was to teach about keys, teach about key changes. I wanted to introduce a concept that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, which is modal interchange. I don't know if the Beatles necessarily cared about modal interchange or even were thinking along those lines. But when you do an analysis of a song and you ask yourself, why did they change from that key to the next key? The possible explanation I came up with was maybe it's modal interchange. I don't know. Maybe that's why it sounded cool. I don't know. So the main point of this video is I just want to address all of this Beatles hate, and I want to say what I think about all this. So here we go. I used to be the same way. I used to hate the Beatles too. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from. I absolutely get it. So for the first 16 years of my life, my dad listened to the Beatles constantly. Every Sunday morning, it was breakfast with the Beatles. All I heard was Beatles, 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 Beatles. Now, my dad has always been my number one role model in my life. That has been the same since I was a kid. It's the same now. It's never going to change. But for some reason, for the first 16 years of my life, I just had to do whatever the opposite of what my dad did. I don't know why I did that. Maybe it's some kind of desire to be independent or whatever. I have no idea why. As I got older, I started to realize that every single thing my dad ever told me was right in life, you know? You know how kids are. My kid's the same way. I got a 4-year-old son, and he's the exact same way. You know, my kid looks up to me. I'm his hero and stuff like that. But if I'm like, hey, I like that one, he's like, oh, I like the other one. He just does the opposite of whatever I do. Maybe it's a boy thing. Maybe it's a kid thing. I don't know. But anyway, so I listened to the Beatles constantly, and I was like, yeah, the Beatles suck because you like them, Dad, so I have to do the opposite of what you do. But on top of that, I really genuinely just didn't like it. I didn't get it. I would listen to them and like every song is just about the same love stuff. It's just like cheesy pop bubblegum rock, you know, like I just didn't get it. But as I started to get a little older, I started playing in bands and stuff and interacting with musicians and stuff like that. I started to come to find that pretty much all musicians, great musicians, they all highly respected the Beatles. They loved the Beatles. And I was like, why? What's wrong with you guys? Are you stupid? Like, their songs suck. What do you see in these Beatles? I didn't get it. So I really wanted to find out what the hype was about these Beatles. So I did something that my dad suggested for me to do. He said, listen, if you hear music and you don't like it right away, give it a shot. You know, listen to it 3 times, 4 times. Give something a chance, you know. A lot of times the music will eventually grow on you and you'll start to really like it. And then you have this whole new band or this whole new library of songs that you can listen to because you gave it a shot. So I did the same thing with the Beatles. So at the time I was working this pizza delivery job, and you know, I listened to tons of music while I was delivering pizza. That's where I got all my music listening in. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to download the Beatles discography. I think there's like 300 songs or something like that. I downloaded the entire Beatles discography, and I was like, I'm just going to play this whole thing on repeat, start to finish, all 300 songs as I deliver my pizzas, and I'm just going to do this like 5 times. I'm really going to give this a shot. So I did that, and you know, maybe about a month, 2 months of doing that, I think I listened to the entire discography like 3 times through. And somewhere along the way, I was just like, these guys are really good. They got a lot of good songs that I'd never heard before. There's like 150 songs that I've never heard before, because that's not like, the Beatles have a lot of hits, they have a lot of songs, but they also have a whole lot of songs that most people have never heard. So I don't know, I got this new band that I like. I'm like, this is awesome. I have 300 songs now that I can now listen to in addition to the other stuff I like. Now, not only did this cause me to like really start to love the Beatles and have this whole new array of music that I could now listen to because I gave it a shot, but they are the reason that I eventually ended up doing backup vocals for my band that I played in for 15 years. The way that happened was we were just kind of starting out. We were like 2 years in. We were like an amateur garage band. We thought we were the best band ever, but we kind of sucked. We get this new drummer, right? This new drummer is like an elite level pro drummer. This guy was way above our league, way too good for us. He came in, he's like, guys, you don't do any harmonies. Why are you not doing harmonies? We had two singers. You know, we had the lead singer, and then we called him the utility guy. He did keyboards and rhythm guitar and sang some songs. So he kind of did a little bit of everything. But the two singers of the band, they would just gang vocal everything. They wouldn't harmonize. And this drummer was like, dude, why are you not doing harmonies? That's why you guys are still amateur. You have to start doing harmonies. We're like, okay, you know, none of us really knew how to harmonize. I'm not really a singer, you know. But I did know that through my listening to the Beatles, the 300 songs over and over and over, I'm like, if I'm going to learn harmonies, this is a great way to do it. Because the Beatles have just like great harmonies in them. As I would be delivering my pizzas and stuff like that, I'd be listening to these Beatles and I'd just be practicing singing along to every single song. But I wouldn't focus on the main singing line, the main melody line. I would focus on the harmony line, either the upper harmony or the lower harmony. And I would just kind of make it my point to just always sing the harmony lines and always try to listen to the harmony lines in every single song that I ever heard, primarily using the Beatles to do this with. And, you know, a month or two later, you know, I was then the harmony guy in our band. I'm not a great singer or anything. You don't have to be a great singer to be a backup vocalist, but if you can hit the correct notes, you can harmonize properly, that's really all you have to do. So I was able to harmonize, and I was then the harmony guy in our band. We eventually got another singer in our band that was way better at singing than me, way better at harmonizing than me, and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I still had that new ability now, you know? So this new guy that had these awesome harmony skills, every once in a while, he'd give me a job. He'd be like, hey, you know, do a harmony there. I'll do this harmony. And we could then do that now. So I do have to thank the Beatles for being that reason. So yeah, so that's my story about how I switched from being a hardcore Beatles hater to a hardcore Beatles lover. Nothing can exist in between. There's zero people on the entire face of this earth that think that the Beatles are just okay. You either love them or you hate them. Maybe that's not true. I'm sure there's one person at least out there that says the Beatles are okay, but I've never met one person that thought that way. They either love them or they hate them. So I know most of the Beatles haters out there are not. I'm not going to change anyone's opinion. You know, people are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to continue to hate the Beatles. All I'm saying is, hey, if you give something a shot, this is the advice my dad gave me, man. It's pretty good advice. I'm telling you, I've discovered a lot of good bands this way. If you give something a shot, you go and you download the Beatles discography and you listen to the whole thing, start to finish, like 3 or 4 times, you just might discover a new band. New band. Not a new band, but you might just discover a band that you had no clue had so many good songs. So anyway, that's what happened. That's my message. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.